This is the all-new generation of the Kia Sportage. We'll tell you all you need to know about the long wheelbase and the short wheelbase version for the different markets worldwide. Let's start here in the front. This is the new GT line, the sporty design package. And it has here the special front grille. But in general, the new styling is really massive, very strong. The top part here, kind of closed. But then here, once again, really open in the lower area. Also very prominent, the new LED daytime running light. The main headlamp unit starts with LED and optional the matrix LED. Experience green is this very special new color, by the way. And you also see here the new Kia logo. So they have completely changed the whole brand design. Around 5 inches or around 14 centimeters is the length difference from the short wheelbase to the long wheelbase version, splitting in the wheelbase and here the C-pillar. This is here the European version at 4 meters 51 or 178 inches. And the version for Asian and the American market is 4 meters 66 or 183 inches. So not too big of a difference, but the styling details are different. The European version gets this contrasting black roof as an option exclusively. And here the window graphic then is different. And also the C-pillar would be just longer in the US and the Korean version, for example. Interesting, by the way, this split here. So their new design philosophy explicitly works with contrasts. I usually find design better when it's more fluent and easy, but they also want to arouse attention with contrasts like these, where it's really like going in the opposite way. Very interesting. The GT line also features the painted wheel arches right there. These are also dark 18-inch wheels. The wheel sizes go from 17 to 19 inch, so there are even bigger ones available. In general, you can see a rather sporty approach for the side and rather fluent designers in the front part. Also, once again, for the front wheel arch, we have it in paint again. The base version you would just get with the normal black wheel arches. And here also in the GT line, the contrasting mirror caps also in black. So you see they are actually playing around a little bit, and then especially here towards the rear, even more stressed in by this black roof contrast we see here. There is also a new distinctive design for the rear. Look at these curved forms here, and then very modern tail lamps right there. And some contrasting elements, for example, here, and this off-road diffuser kind of style. And gladly, we have no fake exhaust whatsoever. Suspension-wise, by the way, you start with the base suspension, and optionally you can get an ECS, electronically controlled suspension, so an adaptive suspension is also available. What do you think about design here? Tell me in the comments. This is the car key, and it also features this remote parking function. We know it from our recent Genesis reviews or the Hyundai Ioniq reviews. Of course, Kia, Hyundai and Genesis, all the same corporation, and therefore they also share these features. You can also press it here for keyless entry and door closing sound. Very solid. Yes, sometimes it's beeping, but that's normal. It's a prototype vehicle, so it also beeps from time to time. Then here, top part here, soft touch. Then you have a nice microfiber insert here in the GT line, and even softer than here for your elbow. There's an optional Harman Kardon sound system. And here, my favorite feature, look at that. Really nice design here for the door handles. Not sure if they're practical, but they look awesome. Then the GT line also features this special steering wheel, flat bottom, GT line badge. You have pretty simple and old school controls here for the steering wheel, but I really like to have them because we see so many, capacitive BS nowadays that it's good to have a volume control with a real button at the steering wheel on the right side and rather for the cruise control. This is the, cool option or standard in the GT line, this curved display. 2 displays, left and right, 12.3 inch. Standard or smaller trim levels would be a smaller screen than actually, but this is then actually the most prominent option. Also interesting how the air vents are newly integrated right here, and the seats said to be just it's kind of sporty, I would say, because it looks already sporty. And here it has some microfiber inserts, and then also leatherette is being used. And as my information goes so far, this is here also an animal-free seat. So also Kia going in this direction, especially also with the new electric vehicle, the EV6, for example. So pretty cool first impression. Let's get inside. And Yeah, it's actually quite plush, but you already have an elaborated seating position, so you feel like you would be in a proper SUV. Doesn't feel small at all. The steering wheel, up, down, in and out. Here the store columns move alongside, but again, it's a prototype vehicle. We'll check again in our final review then when we can drive the car. Of course, stay tuned for that and always stay subscribed for our driving reviews. Then, electric seat, up and down, here like this. The electric motor is actually also quite fast. And what about the space here? There is the panoramic roof in here, 1.86 m or 6'1", and still a lot of headroom left, no problem. What is quite cool, there are two features actually here in this vehicle that are really fast. And you can open this panoramic roof like this. It's really wide, goes all the way across. And now it gets really interesting because this is the first feature. Look at that, how fast the cover for the sunroof is. Some of we have vehicles which are like really slow in that, but look at that, that's like, I think it's the fastest sunroof cover I've ever seen. And the second fast thing is to come up right now. And here it is, either open space or cup holders in. And now maybe we need slow-mo. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There we are with the cup holders. Okay, once more. Jonas, wanna put the slow-mo on? Attention. Interior overview, really impressive with this curved screen. I'm not sure if it appears on camera because this is 2D, but my eyes are watching 3D, and this is really curved. And yeah, the same way, by the way, in the EV6. So this is very interesting technology transfer, and yeah, probably a very interesting option to go for, or standard when you have the GT-Line. Soon more details to each of these screens here, 12.3 inch. Here the steering wheel already looks very sophisticated. Also the materials they're using, and also real metal here on the inside. So this makes a good impression. Again, classic buttons, but really glad to have them, that you can control them while driving. Also for the cruise control, no capacitive BS, really, really good. Then what's also interesting before we come to the screens, here, this lower unit. So it's a mix. You have like touch here for the vent strength, but you still have a manual dial then for the temperature. And I'm really glad as well that we still have that. So I think this is good user interface, that they still use some classic elements right there. And you can also switch this one. So at the moment it's for temperature, left and right, here like this, or so you can sync it again. And when you hit this button, then you have some more hotkeys right here. And you have this as a manual volume jog, and on the right side for tune. It's an interesting idea. Yes, not sure if you will really use that while driving. I mean, you also have the volume control on the steering wheel. Still, it's good to have a volume knob. That way they go like, a mixed way. They reduce the amount of buttons, and then you still have the possibility, at least, I would probably leave it on the temperature, but at least you have the possibility. Interesting. A lot of black piano like I use here. I would tend to reduce that. When you open that, you have USB chargers. This will also be USB-C when you get the car in the showroom. Heated steering wheel and heated seats. Again, with separate wheel buttons. Yes, please, we need that. And other manufacturers, watch and learn. If you put everything in a touchscreen, it maybe looks fancier, but it's not practical while driving especially. The driving selector here, those from Jaguar Land Rover, or they have actually introduced that first, and Ford has that. Now also with Genesis, for example, but here also with Kia. So yeah, why not? And here this is a selector for the driving modes. When you have the optional adaptive suspension and then go for the sport mode, it will be stiffer than, for example, suspension-wise. Then we have the armrest, the leatherette cover. The attachment could be a little bit better, but again, at the moment, prototype stage. Here, a lot of space underneath. The usage of interior space, so far, really good. Fancy digital instruments indeed, and you can change the schemes here. For example, a more classic view, or like this, or maybe like this. And this one, of course, the most fancy one. And by the way, if you use the turning indicators, there will also then be a camera right here, a camera view from the side mirrors, like we've seen in our recent Genesis reviews, that you have a blind spot camera basically in the digital instruments. That one will be available when you go for the 360 degrees camera package. Infotainment screen up close, works here via touch. And let's take a look at the climate menu. So usually you would just control it from below, but you can also do it in the touchscreen like this. Again, main menu, and let's take a look at the map. So this is something, I'm not sure why they're still using this kind of, system where it got this hook here. Yeah, so there are definitely better infotainment system maps here out there. That basically does the job. The alternative would be using the Apple CarPlay, and there we go. Nice integration all the way over the screen, so that works very well. And let's listen to this sound system. And we have the Harman Kardon sound system, and it's actually very nice true surround. And I can also recommend this song. Yeah, by the time you bought still CDs, and then you were allowed to rip it. On the rear doors we have hardpack material. We'll see about that in the final vehicle at the later stage. But here on the back seats you also have the same styling as in the front seat, and it's also a very plush atmosphere. Legroom wise, of course, the dimensions in the EU version have not changed much, but here then still some legroom left if the tall driver is driving. This would then be a difference to the Korean or the American version. Then you have a little bit more legroom. Here also very interesting hanger here for the jackets. So integrated in the head restraint, that's an interesting idea. And also the headroom in the rear, of course with the panoramic roof that gets closed, but for me it works. If you want more headroom in the rear, then leave out the panoramic roof. You can also adjust the angle of the back seats like this, more upright or more than sleeping position. And then here, cup holders, they are not adaptive, but they are at least not that shallow. There we go. An interesting spot here for the USB chargers in the rear. This will be updated material later on in the final vehicle, and also there will be more USB-C chargers in the final vehicle when it's not prototype anymore. You maybe know it from the platform brother, the Hyundai Tucson, that there's also the function that you stand here with the key in your pocket and the hatch opens automatically. That's of course a very practical function. Here the electric hatch then in general can also be opened with the button below. And then we have 590 liters for the EU version and some 50 liters more for the long wheelbase version. Here, very nicely done with the rails left and right for that cover. And you can see here the backpack fits in easily. The width is at 1 meter or 40 inches, and here the length 34 inches or 85 centimeters. Overall very well usable square dimensions. Underneath here there's some more space. Only if you have the plug-in hybrid version that is coming up, then you will not have this additional space right there. You can also fold the seats from here like this, and you see they easily fold, almost flat from here. So they have a lot of space, and let's see if you want to transport some furniture or something. Let's take it that way. So it's about 67 inches or 170 centimeters. Overall, well usable. Engines, front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, and it's easy to remember, always 1.6 liter 4 cylinders. One diesel available, then there's one pure petrol engine, at least some mild hybrid technology. Then there's an inbuilt petrol hybrid, the one you can see right here. This then already has some 230 horsepower system output, and then there's a plug-in hybrid, 265 horsepower, and at least some 40 kilometers or 25 miles of pure electric range. They promise, of course, a little bit more, but I'm talking like realistic range. So interesting that they have mild hybrid, inbuilt hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and then next to that still the diesel. Pure electric, that's then the task rather of the Kia EV6, which is somewhat then size-wise in the same segment. Of course, not a true SUV then, for sure. Do the competitors need to be afraid now of the new Kia Sportage, like the VW Tiguan or the Mazda CX-5? Click these videos and I would say they rather should be.